Let's talk about the response from the police to our 5-page legal document. And again, if you're coming late, we sent this document out after we were stopped, detained, fined, and banned for campaigning almost 3 weeks ago. And at the time, we knew there was something wrong with that. We drafted the legal letter, but we've now just got a response, and I want to read from you the response from the City of London Police. And so I'll explain exactly what they said to this. And it says this. They said this, quote, "The government's view is that these restrictions, and those are the laws that they enforced there, do not support door-to-door campaigning or leafleting by individual political party activists. And that's in order to reduce transmission of COVID-19 infection. Door-to-door campaigning at this point is therefore not considered essential or necessary activity," unquote. So that was their response to me demanding why I was stopped and fined when I was walking down the street alone speaking to my phone. So my first response to this, and we've already put this response out via press release, is I wasn't engaged in leafleting. I wasn't engaged in canvassing. I wasn't engaged in door-to-door campaigning. So why did you stop me, fine me, and ban me from campaigning? This does not actually answer that question for me. And I find that very peculiar. I also find it strange that I was actually never sent the ticket and I have not actually been issued the fine. So I think somehow they knew what they were doing was wrong. Maybe they never actually planned on fining us, or maybe when they saw that all of you were behind us and the world reacted with outrage to this insult to democracy, that they said, wait a second, we know we've gone too far. Maybe we should speak to our bosses in the political realm and say, maybe something's not right here and we shouldn't proceed. So I'm really happy that we stood up and fought for our rights. And this response clearly does not give them grounds to stop us doing what we're doing now, which is digitally campaigning and what I was doing on that day. But it goes even further, because the police response went on to say this. They said that leafleting by individual political party activists is not supported. And so what they're actually saying is this: leafleting by private companies and private distribution is supported. Now, bear with me here and you can understand the actual nuance here, and it's a very important part. Small parties, independent candidates, liberal Dems, Greens, these kinds of things. If you're not part of the two-party system, you don't have a lot of resources, which means you need volunteers to get out there and help you drop these leaflets off so people can know the message. The big parties can afford private distribution. These are the companies that drop off, the pizza vouchers that come into your front door. The police are now saying that it's okay to use a private company to drop off political leaflets, but it's not okay for you to use volunteers to do the same thing. This is clearly favoring the big guy. It's favoring the big parties, and in my opinion, this is evidence that the major parties here in London are in the midst of buying the election. That's what they're doing here. And they're prohibiting parties like ours, again, Lib Dems, Greens, and a lot of other small parties out there, from actually getting their message out. And I was surprised, very surprised, that they would put this into writing and tell us this specifically. And again, if you want details on that, we put out a press release about that, and you'll be seeing more press about this. But something is fundamentally wrong when they are saying you are allowed to campaign if you have the funds, if you use a private company, but you're not allowed to campaign if you use volunteers. And again, this is something that we've seen applied to us for the past few weeks. There's a double standard here. If you're part of the major party system or you're the incumbent mayor, you have one set of rules. The current mayor is out there campaigning on a regular basis. But if you're part of the smaller parties or the little guy, you have a second rule. And they're using these quote unquote COVID restrictions to make sure we can't campaign. And again, let me be clear about this. If you don't have a choice as a voter, by not knowing who your candidates are, then by definition, you have no choice and we have no democracy. And so in my opinion, that's what's happening here. The major parties are trying to deafen out our voices. They're trying to prohibit you from finding out about our information and our ideas, because quite honestly, they think our ideas are dangerous. Why? Because our ideas work. They're going to change the system, and they're going to solve all these problems that we've been talking about today. I know how to get London back to work. I know how to solve these problems with knife crime on the street. I know how to build affordable homes. I'm going to build 50,000 by Christmas, which is 4 times the amount in 5 months than the mayor has built in 5 years. I have solutions for our TFL, first of all, no longer going bankrupt, but also on how the TFL can run a profit. And that means no more congestion charge, no more LTN charges in your own neighborhood for going to visit your own grandparents. These are some of the solutions I have. And quite honestly, I think they're dangerous ideas. And that's why we are being quieted now by the political machine.